What do you make of some of these questions we are asking? For many people, many commentators, they're saying that levelling up, for example, is dead. And many of the polls show that there is a strong resurgence of the Labour Party in those constituencies. I mean, what do you make of this?
Well, good morning, Anaya. The position that Rishi Sunak inherits in the Conservative Party is pretty desperate. I think we need to be honest about the scale of the challenge before him and recognise just how steep the hill is that he has to climb. The Conservative Party is around 36 points behind the Labour Party. That's worse than at any point since 1997. And in our report that we published yesterday, we found that just 39% of 2019 Conservative voters say they would vote Conservative if there was an election tomorrow, with 35% of voters rating their chance of voting Conservative at 0 out of 100. So a really difficult situation. However, I think there are positives. Ultimately, the only way from here is up. Rishi Sunak can only improve on what should be the nadir for the Conservative Party. But to do so, he will need to focus on the policies that can win back those voters, particularly in the red wall, who have moved away from the party in the last few years. So that means focusing on what we call a kind of national conservatism that won in 2019. That's focusing on economically interventionist policies. They're going to make markets work for people. So not the kind of deregulation that we've heard about for the last 6 weeks. And socially and culturally conservative policies on things like crime and immigration. That's what will win back the voters the party has lost.
Manifesto that did win all of these seats. This was a manifesto that promised to keep taxes low, that promised to not increase national insurance, that decried the Labour Party's idea of raising corporation tax, that said corporation tax being low was a good Conservative value. To some extent, are we over-interpreting the 2019 manifesto, which was actually quite a low tax document?
Well, the 2019 manifesto promised to keep taxes low, but it did not promise the type of unfunded tax cuts that we've heard about in the mini budget from Kwasi Kwarteng just a few weeks ago. It promised fiscal discipline as well as low taxes, and it promised economic competence of the type the Conservatives have historically been known for. So I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that that document was different from the type of conservatism that Liz Truss promised in the last few weeks. In fact, I think the departure has been from her government rather than necessarily from Boris Johnson. So I think no, I'm not sure that is the correct interpretation. The other thing that that document very clearly set out was things like curbs on immigration. It promised to reduce lower skilled immigration, that overall migration would fall. Obviously, from Liz Truss, we heard a desire to increase migration. That would have worried many 2019 voters. And it recognised that sometimes markets don't work properly and the government needs to be there to step in, as it did during the pandemic. So I think the 2019 manifesto is the blueprint for Rishi Sunak's government, and he's made very clear that he wants to deliver on it.